It was the kind of rain that didn't just fall, it whispered, like it carried secrets from one soul to another. Naira walked faster, the sound of her heels echoing against the wet pavement of Karachi's old district, where time moved a little slower and memories clung to the air like fog. She hated coming back here, especially alone. But tonight wasn't about comfort, it was about answers. Clutched in her coat pocket was an anonymous letter, slipped under her apartment door 3 nights ago. No return address. Just one line inside, "You don't remember me, but I never forgot you. Come to the old clock tower at 9 p.m. Most people would have thrown it away. But something about the handwriting, the paper, the scent of jasmine still lingering on the envelope, it all felt eerily familiar, like a chapter of her past had decided to rewrite itself. So here she was, cold and confused, standing in front of the abandoned clock tower that hadn't chimed since 2011. The same year her world had fallen apart. 12 years ago, when she was just 16, Naira had been involved in a tragic accident, a car crash that took her father's life and erased a year of her memory. No one ever told her what happened in that missing time, only that she had changed afterward. More reserved. More cautious. Her mother refused to speak about it. Her childhood best friend moved away. But deep inside her, Naira always felt the absence of something, or someone, she had once held close. "You came," said a voice behind her. She turned quickly. A man stood in the rain, half-shadowed, tall, wearing a long coat, his face unfamiliar yet oddly comforting. "Who are you?" she asked. He smiled softly. "You really don't remember, do you?" She stepped back. "Should I?" He pulled something from his coat, a locket. Heart-shaped. Worn. And when he opened it, there it was, the picture of her, laughing, cheeks flushed, holding hands with him. A version of her she didn't even recognize. Her breath caught. "Where did you get that?" "You gave it to me," he replied. "Before the accident. Before everything changed." His name was Ahil. And slowly, piece by piece, he began to tell her the story of the year she had forgotten, a story of 2 teenagers falling in love against the odds. Of late-night meetings on rooftops. Of handwritten poems slipped into school lockers. Of a promise made the night before her world turned upside down, that they would run away together after graduation. "But you never came," he said, his voice breaking. "I waited for hours. Then I heard about the crash. I went to the hospital, but your mother told me to stay away. She said you didn't remember me. That seeing me would only confuse you more." Naira's head spun. "Why didn't you try again? After all these years?" "I did," he said. "Letters. Messages. I even spoke to your best friend, but she said you'd moved on. That you were happier not knowing. I believed her, until I saw you last week in Sadar. You were smiling at a little girl who dropped her balloon. And for a second, you looked exactly like the Naira I used to know. So I wrote the letter. I had to try one last time." Her mind raced with emotions she couldn't name. It was too much. Too fast. And yet, something in her heart stirred, like a door creaking open after years sealed shut. "I want to believe you," she whispered. "But I don't remember any of it." Ahil stepped closer. "Then let me help you remember." And he did. Over the next few weeks, they met in hidden cafes and dusty libraries, slowly rebuilding what time and trauma had stolen. He showed her old sketches he had drawn of her, poems they had written together, messages from an old flip phone he had kept all this time, everything preserved like a shrine to a love she had forgotten but he had never let die. And then one day, while walking past the old bridge near Clifton, it happened. A smell. A sound. A certain angle of sunlight, and suddenly, like a wave crashing over her, the memories returned. All of them. The first kiss under the mango tree behind her school. The silly code words they invented. The night she ran crying into his arms after her parents' fight. The accident. She remembered everything, including the way she had begged him to let her go afterward, afraid that her broken pieces would destroy him too. But he never had. He had simply waited, silently, loving her from a distance. She turned to him, tears streaming down her face, and said, "I remember." And he just smiled, quietly, as if he had been holding his breath for 12 years. "Then it was worth it," he said. They sat by the sea for hours that night, sharing everything. The pain. The lost time. The what-ifs. But there was no bitterness. Only the kind of peace that comes from two souls finally reuniting after being torn apart by fate. Naira still had doubts about how much they had missed, about whether they could ever really catch up. But when he held her hand and pressed his forehead to hers, she felt whole in a way she never had before. Some loves aren't meant to be rushed. Some are meant to test time, memory, and every force that tries to separate them. And yet, they endure. They started slow, coffee dates, letters again, just like before. But this time, no secrets. No fear. Just love, raw and rediscovered. And one rainy evening, exactly a year after the clock tower meeting, Kael brought her back to the same spot. This time, the tower's old bell rang for the first time in 13 years. He knelt, pulling a velvet box from his pocket, and said, "You came back to me once. Will you stay?" And with the kind of smile only time can shape, she whispered, "Always." Under the rain that started it all, two people who had lost and found each other once again began their forever, not where their love began, but where it had waited patiently to be remembered. Sparkling heart, did this story move you to tears or make you believe in destiny? Backhand index pointing right, hit the like button to show love for Naira and Kael's unforgettable journey. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever experienced a love that time tried to erase? Pushpin, don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Love for deeply emotional stories every single day. Bell, tap the notification bell so you never miss the next tale that tugs at your heart.